This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration. This podcast is sponsored by Lever Consulting, editing with a purpose. Check them out at leverconsulting.com for a free consultation.
Hey friends, you're listening to the Cat and V Show. Pour yourself a juicy cup of tea, grab a seat, and get ready for us to dish.
Hey guys! Welcome back to the Cat and V Show, where we spill the tea and some other things. Just where we talk about the things that we like and we're interested in, and we think that you guys would be interested in. And today, let's talk about manifesting, because I feel like I talk about manifesting a lot, not only on this podcast, but also our other podcast, How's That Working For You? So check that out if you haven't already. But manifesting, let's talk about that, because I think that both of us have a little experience with it lately, right?
Yeah, we keep talking about eventually doing a full episode on it, so we're finally making time for that. I think it was one of the How's That Working For You, where we talked about Michael manifesting a house and I manifested some shoes.
Yeah, but I think this time I can kind of do a little, like, almost tips for manifesting spiel, I guess, because I feel like I have a little bit of experience with it. I don't know. I am a full believer, and I know that it can sound pretty woo-woo, but put it this way. It's just kind of like goal setting, but with a little spice.
Goal setting with spice.
I'll just put it that way, because I think that some people are a little bit hesitant or a little repulsed by the fact that it's kind of a little hippy-dippy woo-woo magic stuff. But it's really just goal setting and having a positive mindset, or an abundance mindset, they like to call it, where it's like they don't like to, how do I put this? It's better to kind of live your life with more of a positive outlook and kind of don't expect the worst, basically. Or if you think positively, positive things will happen to you. So it's another term for manifesting is the law of attraction, which I think the law of attraction has an even more negative stigma, because there was a whole video about it that came out in I think it was either the early 2000s or the 90s. I'll have to link that. And there's a book called The Secret. And it does explain manifesting really well, but it just kind of comes off as a little scammy to me, because like people sold books about it, and whenever you sell books about something like that, it's just kind of scammy. It feels like it. But you don't need to spend money to manifest. Basically, okay, let's walk you through a manifestation scenario that I've encountered that I think is probably the biggest thing I've manifested, and it's my love life. And if you've been listening to us, trust me, I've talked about how terrible my love life has been before, up until I met my current boyfriend. It's kind of sad. And it was because I believe that I deserved that shitty treatment because of how I was conditioned to think as a young child up to adolescence. I was treated very poorly, and because my family kind of is a little abusive, like it's kind of like tough love, but tough love isn't great. It's not. I would not suggest tough love to raise your children with that premise, because it's just sort of abuse. It's kind of abusive. So I basically I connected abuse with love, basically. So I thought that, oh, like if somebody were to treat me like, say, with tough love, that's like what love is supposed to feel like. And that's why I ended up with the shittiest people who treated me like shit and would say things like, oh, you're not sexy anymore because you've stopped working out. And in that case, in that certain context, I was actually very depressed. And one of the symptoms of depression is not having the motivation to work out and all that other stuff. So yeah, either way, part of why I said that is because when you can manifest negative things almost easier than you can manifest positive things, because it's so much. Think about it this way: it's so easy to gain weight, but in order to be healthy, you kind of have to work away from it. That, like, it's harder to make healthy choices sometimes, because if you've already developed the habit of kind of being a little like making unhealthier choices, it's hard to change that. So in a sense, I was almost manifesting a terrible love life at that point. And when I finally had it, I was just done, because the last abusive person I was with was literally the most almost cartoonishly terrible person. Like, he was such a narcissist in so many different ways that I basically almost was with him because I wanted him to make me sick of men so that I could just, like, you know, be an independent woman who don't need no man, which is kind of what happened. And then I heard a podcast after I dumped this guy that was like how I manifested my husband. And I was like, interesting. Since I was already interested in it, I might as well just indulge it. And basically, the most outstanding part of that podcast was the host basically said, I'm going to manifest my husband this year and release it into the universe. And then not too long afterwards, she met the guy that she actually ended up marrying. And I was like, okay, cool. You know what? There's nothing to lose here. There really isn't anything to lose. So I was just like, you know what? I'm going to manifest my husband this year. And while neither he and I have discussed marriage, and we know that it's in our future and we're not in any rush for it, I truly believe that this is the one. And he's so respectful. And I mean, V can attest to the fact that before I met this guy, I would call her like every morning in tears just because of how shitty I was treated by these other guys. And then my phone calls to her kind of dropped by like at least half because I no longer...
I'd say more than half. We went from talking every day to every few days. And sometimes you weren't crying on the phone. It was like, wow, a non-teary cat. Is she dehydrated?
No, I'm just happy and content with my life. And I have a supportive boyfriend, which I've been literally... This is what I've always wanted. I always wanted to travel with the love of my life, basically, and then have an opportunity to start vlogging about it, like travel vlogging and living that, you know, it's not necessarily a glamorous life because I'm still kind of broke, but I'm manifesting a great job for myself and success. But Jordan actually bought me a camera to vlog, and because he's so supportive of my goal, like he's so supportive of this goal of mine to really create a platform and just be a public figure and a leader in a sense for other people who are like me meaning they might struggle and have low self-esteem and are working away from that and want help and guidance. So that's kind of my goal, and he's so supportive of it. And he's supportive in so many different ways. Like he not only did he buy me a camera, he kind of like encourages me to use it more. And he's also encouraging me to find an actual job that I went to grad school for, which I don't know. I talked privately to V about this, and I was kind of at at a crossroads because I didn't know what I wanted to do. Is like, do I focus 100% on vlogging, or do I, and like building my brand, or do I, actually chase that dream of working for a larger company like I had intended? Because part of why I decided to do that was because I wanted to prove to myself and to certain people in my family, and to be a role model for other people who have a dream like that, but kind of, I almost gave up on it because I didn't think that I was smart enough or good enough to work at a larger company, or be, to get a job like that, or to maintain a job like that, because I have had issues sustaining employment in the past because of my mental illness. So, but what I've decided, and what he's supporting me with right now, is that, you know what, I'm going to try that job, try that route, try to be get hired by a prestigious, or not prestigious, but just a tech company, and do that life and see what it's like working for a company like that with my mental illness and with the challenges that I have. And then I'll talk about that in my vlogs and stuff like that, and see see what works, what doesn't work, and how to communicate with people who don't have it, who have an easier time at work because they don't have the challenges that I have, right? So he's very supportive in that. And he's just like, you know what, I'm going to help you get a job then. And he's like, he sits me down like V used to do. He basically took V's job, because V's always been equally supportive with my dreams and stuff like that. But she also has her own life, and I'm so happy. Honestly, we got to talk.
I'm now unemployed from Cat.
With your 4 other jobs that you're doing right now, so don't even but I'm grateful for Jordan, and I'm also grateful that I have the space and mental capacity to be more supportive of you, V, because I'm no longer just in this unstable state of just being unhappy and not knowing what I'm doing, because I have guidance and I have support from somebody else. So yeah. And he sits me down. He's like, okay, well, we're going to work on your resume. We're going to build your LinkedIn. We're going to actually build your website, which V tried to help me with. And then it just kind of, I don't know, I wasn't ready for it. I was so unstable at that time. I was a lot more stable than I used to be. I was kind of I was on the road to recovery at that point, and I was stable enough where I'm a pleasant person to be around and I can receive feedback, but I just wasn't. I wasn't ready for it. So yeah. Anyway, I manifested him. And what I basically did was here's the real thing. It's I basically knew 100% to my core that I deserve, sorry, not past tense, that I deserve this type of love, and that I've earned it. I earn the respect. And you know what? You don't need to earn respect from your loved one. Fuck that. No. You just I was, before meeting Jordan, I basically thought the bare minimum was what I deserved. And nobody deserves just the bare minimum. Everyone deserves the best. And I think that in order to deserve the best, you work on yourself. You work on yourself and you build yourself up. And then you finally, you reach a point where you're so fulfilled with yourself that you're ready, and the universe basically is okay, this bitch is ready. Let me give her the love of her life, because she knows that she deserves that. And not to say that there are people who aren't there yet, that don't have respectful people, but for me, that was what I learned that I needed to do in order to really be comfortable with myself, and then, meet somebody that I could be fully present for. And I think that's what a healthy relationship is that you can be fully present for your partner, and your partner can be fully present to you, right? So that was my story about manifesting the love of my life. I know, so woo-woo. I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry, because that's just where it is.
Because you're happy.
I'm happy. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. Check us out on Instagram at the Cat and Bee Show. Check out our other podcast, How's That Working For You, which is off season right now, but season 3's in the pipelines. And we'll catch you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, let's talk about Lever Consulting. They help you create so many things. A perfect personal statement, application essays, presentations. They help create writings that truly represent you. They've got writers, editors, and even researchers. Lever Consulting can make all your stuff easy to read, understandable, and enjoyable. They truly take editing to the next level. Not only do they have flexible rates, they also offer assistance with college applications and job seeking. Check them out at leverconsulting.com and get a free consultation.